Hey everyone, and welcome to another edition of CTS Biz Talk. I'm your usual host, Frank Stevens, excited about today's topic. But before I jump into that, last week I ended on an unusual note. Brain fart, whatever you want to call it. I couldn't think of what the term was, and it hit me like in the next day when I was in the shower. I'm like, DLP, data loss prevention. That's the solutions you could put in place to ensure that employees are not emailing data to their own personal email accounts, if they're not pushing data out via like a Dropbox or Google Drive, or if they're not plugging in USB drives and stealing their data. DLP, data loss prevention, that's what I forgot. But here we go on to the new topic. So this is one that I've talked about a few times, but really not dug into it. And I have this conversation all the time with clients. They say, hey, I've got MFA in place, multi-factor authentication, whether it's using like a Microsoft Authenticator, where it's rotating codes every 60 seconds, or is it, two-factor like with an SMS where you get a text message. So what MFA is, basically, if I have a user ID and password to access a cloud-based system, I have my user and my password, and then it does a challenge if it doesn't recognize me. So you have the capability of saying, hey, trust this device for 30 days. We've all clicked on that. And so I'm going to talk about when you do that, what the ramifications are by trusting that device and what really happens. Because after you say, if you put the code in and say, yep, I'm really Frank Stevens, I'm on my, my cousin's or a new laptop, and here's my 6-digit code, it really truly is me. You don't get asked again for a few weeks, in some cases about a month or 2 months or 3 months, whatever it may be. So basically, how does it work? So MFA, which you should have enabled on all your accounts, otherwise you're truly a sitting duck. Someone's going to use brute force or guess your password or get your password off the web and log into it. So MFA does do its job. It says, hey, yeah, you have the user ID and password, but are you really who you say you are? So the way to get these guys are getting around this is they're using phishing, and not like cast and get some fish with a FISHING, but phishing, PHISHING. And what that is they're going to be sending your employees or somebody a fictitious email. The email itself does not have anything malicious in there, so it will eventually, in most cases, get past your spam protection. But the idea is that someone's going to click on a link and either the payload comes down or they're going to go to a website and enter in information. At the end of the day, they're going to compromise that computer using a phishing. When that happens, the session essentially is hijacking the browser on your local computer. And so remember when I mentioned you put in the code and you basically get what's called a security token. That security token says, I got the user ID and password. I have the MFA code. Frank Stevens is really Frank Stevens. And as I'm accessing either my Microsoft account, my HubSpot, any cloud-based solution, on that computer, it knows it's always me and it's not prompting me for that MFA code each time. So the reason being is because there's a security token that basically gets installed on that browser or that computer. If you get hijacked from a phishing attempt and they see those tokens, they can extract those tokens, take them on their machine, dump it on their web browser, and they have full access to whatever system that you did. They are completely bypassing the user ID and password, as well as the MFA that is behind it. So once you have a stolen token, it is game over. They will have access to that account until that token expires. Typically, that token is going to be expiring anywhere from 60 to 90 days, whatever that vendor sets that token to. So how do you stop this from happening? One, I've talked about this before, security awareness training. You need to be making sure that employees know what the most common and the new phishing attempts are, because then they can sniff out what those attacks look like and then disengage and completely delete the email. Obviously, they should report it as well. But if they get through the human, right, you have what's called MXDR, EDR. These are all solutions that are endpoint protection, and it's watching both your computer, your firewall, your network. And so when that kind of stuff happens and that attack it looks like it's about to happen, those solutions are being monitored and managed via a security operations center. That's what we offer our clients, and it'll actually put an end from that token for being stolen. So you've got your user ID and password, you have your MFA, but you've got someone watching to make sure that those security tokens are not being stolen. So that's how they basically bypass MFA. Again, not saying MFA is not worth it. You should absolutely have that in place, but you need to ensure that you're doing the appropriate things to ensure that even with MFA in place, your security tokens and your accounts are not being compromised and hacked. Hopefully this was helpful. Love to talk more about MFA and how we can help. Give me a call or reach out to anyone on my team. Hopefully you enjoyed and got some good knowledge nuggets on this. If so, please like, subscribe, and share this video out. I would appreciate it. Thanks, everyone, and have a great rest of your day.